Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 18, chapter is known as Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, the yoga of renunciation and liberation. Couldn't be any more. That's the climax. And presently, in verse number 5, Yajnadana tapaha karma natyajyam karyameva tat yajnodanam tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam. The actions in the form of yajna, dana and tapa should not be abandoned, because yajna, dana and tapa promote purity of mind for those who are thoughtful. Three terms, yajna, dana and tapa, should be understood. There are three important aspects of the entire universe: Srishti, Samaj and Vyakti. Srishti refers to the whole creation. Samaj refers to your society, human society. Vyakti refers to your own society, your body, mind, complex. And all these three are so blended that you cannot separate them. If you want to progress, you have to do tapa, discipline your body, mind, senses. You want to relate with humanity, which is another aspect. Without relating with humanity, can't live even for a single moment. So therefore you need to have the insight into Dan. How can you be also charitable? You are helped by humanity. How can you help humanity? And then Srishti, the whole creation, comes to you as a result of your karmic process. That to understand, that's a profound point. Led by your karma, you are now in the world at 2017 and will go on more. If karma was different, would have been in 1870. I'm joking, but to understand, time and space are not realities. Anyone who believes in the time and space, history repeats itself. Same thing is repeating day by day, so it doesn't matter which century you are born in, you face the same problem. So, how to relate yourself to this whole cosmic plan? The simple mantra, simple point behind it, yajna. Yajna means allow the negative in you to be sublimated, vices to be eradicated, virtues to be developed. It has an effect that's beyond your imagination. It affects the whole universal setting. put it in simple way, you are helping in a profound way if you are practicing yajna. But the normal and literal concept of yajna is pouring oblations into fire and you reciting mantras. And that's a ritual aspect of yajna, which has its own importance. Just like no matter how great you are, you have come through kindergarten. And you can continue to keep your base in your kindergarten. Live also to communicate with children or those people who are not spiritually advanced. So you have to have that understanding also, guiding people to certain authentic rituals, mantras, stotras. That's one aspect of yajna. But the profounder aspect for a grown-up process is to catch hold of the goat of anger, kill it, sacrifice it. Speaking in an allegorical way, seems crude, but that's what, in a ritualistic level, when people talked about yajna, it simply meant catch hold of some animal, sacrifice it, and the people watch the sacrifice and recite so many mantras. But that's a perverted aspect of yajna. Every profound teaching becomes perverted by the masses, which was corrected by Buddha. I will not go into that story. But yajna implies sublimating all your weaknesses, and that requires different methods. If you share your wealth with others, called dravya yajna, wealth implies many resources. Whatever resource you share with others, it's dravya yajna. You tell a person what type of website you must contact. It's dravya yajna. When you practice equanimity, called yoga yajna, when you do japa and study of scriptures, called swadhyaya yajna, when you disseminate spiritual teachings, called jnana yajna. But now let me give you more broader understanding. These three terms go together, yajna, dana, and tapa. You cannot succeed in yajna unless you are disciplining your body, mind, and senses. So, yajna and tapa. Another point, your yajna will not be effective if you do not have generosity in your heart. So, three words are used, but they are not three different things. Just like in your personality, you have hand, heart, and head, three things. But you can't figure out which one is to be highlighted. Should you just listen to your head and keep your hands tied up? And so forth. In the sixth verse, etanyapि tu karmani sangam tyaktva phalani cha kartavyani iti me partha nishchitam matamuttamam. O Partha, these actions, that means all these yajna, dana, tapa, must be performed without attachment and desire for fruits. This is my firm and final view. Final. It's not going to go any more on this. the important point here is that when you perform spiritual sadhana, another word is a sadhana. Sadhana implies yajna, dana, tapa. If you perform your sadhana, of whatever aspect of sadhana, remove your doership. I am the performer, and I am going to get the fruit of this performance. That type of mentality is childish mentality. In kindergarten level, it's perfectly okay. And from a very broad point of view, do not feel contradicted if you are inspired by certain thing you want to get. And go ahead, work for it. But add into that movement that it is possible because of God's support. So with every success in your activity, you go on highlighting God and humbling the ego. So much so that ego has no role. That movement is authentic spiritual movement. So, remove doership. Detach from the fruit of karma. Detach from the fruit of karma. As you become more and more aware of the role of divine presence within you, then you want to be guided by God, not by your ego. It's just like a person has great fondness for a monkey and keeps the monkey on the neck. And whatever he does, he wants to ask a monkey, do you like that? A monkey inspires him what he should get. He feels very happy about it. That monkey is your ego. Attachment and hatred are the legs of the monkey that holds your neck. It keeps itself bonded with your neck, with the legs. All this is profound insight. When you correct the errors, it is not an easy method. You have to be patient, day by day. But understand, and understand it with a sense of humor, not a sense of tragedy. What can I do? God had placed us in this such miserable situation. Now, detaching from the fruit, go on understanding that as your mind becomes purified and you move to sattva, you know what is needed for you, you know what project you must adopt, guided by viveka buddhi, discriminative intellect. And that has an authentic fruit for you, authentic result. But any result that comes being guided by ego is not authentic. It is defective. And having adopted a course of action, go on performing that action with perseverance. Abhyasa. Satu dirghakal nairantarya satkar sevito. When you know that practicing asanas, pranayams, doing japa will not fail you. Rather, they spice up your life day by day, enrich you. I'm not talking about ordinary spice. So therefore, continue no matter how things are. Dirghakal. Do not set a goal before your mind, a time that, let's see, I will do this type of life, I will live well planned when to do japa, this. And I will do it for 6 months. I will do Purashcharana of the mantra for 3 months. Also understand, whenever I say these things, I'm not really condemning these or underestimating. Even that way of thinking is good. But that will put you in a kindergarten level. But kindergarten level is good. If you are a child, you must grow through it. But if you are grown up, then subtle point has to enter in the heart. The sadhana movement is life movement. You never set a goal to your life, set a time to your life. I give you 6 months, you life. Give me perfect satisfaction. Otherwise, out of me. Let me give you more practical example. You nourish yourself with food, you enjoy day by day. It never occurs to your mind, how long have I been doing this? And there is another big dimension. How many lives you have gone through doing this? Have you become tired of it? No. So when it comes to adding to your life's process a spiritual nourishment, why should you have that sense of being limited by time? There should not be stress on the mind. How long I have done? What have I gotten? That sense should not come into the mind. It will come, but you have to understand it, be wise, and shake it off. And go on building up that type of sadhana movement which has no stress. I'm in divine hands. And it is being in divine hand gives you more sweet experience, more inner enrichment, that you don't have any need to hold on to any stress. It rather goes on inspiring you. Another point is Vedantic psychology, spiritual psychology. When you are asked, or the instruction is given to you, perform your karmas without expecting the fruit. Renounce the fruit of your karma. It automatically implies that you will not do rajasic and tamasic karmas. Rajasic karmas are led by your egoistic fancy. Tamasic karmas are more perverted. When you do those karmas, your ego is deeply involved in it. So it is impossible for you to renounce the fruit of karma. Let me give you a gross example. A thief that has planned his stealing with tremendous concentration and putting all data together. He can't say, I will do my karma, but I will renounce the fruit. On the other hand, think of doing amazing goodness to people or to any person, an act of kindness and grace, even to animals. And when you do it, you are so happy that if you are not recognized by others, it doesn't matter. So therefore, in that set, renouncing the fruit of karma is very easy. So when you are told renounce the fruit of karma, the teacher is teaching you. In other words, you are being led to renounce rajasic, tamasic activities. Niyatasya tu sannyasah karmano nopapadyate mohattasya parityagah tamasah parikirtata. It is not proper for a person to renounce those actions that are his duties. This point also has to be understood. The idea of renouncing action is absolutely, from very literal point of view, is absolutely impossible. Renouncing action, can you stop your breathing? Can you stop your winking? Can we stop chewing food? And put it more civilized manner. Can you stop your nitya karmas? Wake up, wash your teeth, go in, take baths, and so forth. So no matter how intent you are to be actionless, it's impossible for you to be without action. So why bother about it? Go on constantly keeping your mind involved. Let me give you a humorous parable. A person listened to the glory of inaction, renouncing all actions. His mind became so fascinated that how all these people are foolish. And therefore, first thing he did, he renounced his residence where he was living, went into the field, mango garden, sat under the mango garden, and started tasting mango and enjoying the whole setting. Now, it's wonderful to be actionless. But suddenly some birds let drop their droppings on his head. And soon he also became aware of many animals that are not so nasty. So this forest life is not good at all. And he went on experimenting. He went into he built up resistance to, in other words, some high level of health, entered into water. Let me stay in water, away from the whole world. But we start looking at how fishes eat fishes. And how many things go on. He said, That's not good. And he worked hard. Where can I go? And he found no matter where he would go, there is a problem. So how can I be actionless? Ultimately, his mind said, let me enter into fire, be burnt up. So he went into a certain area, started putting fuel, to strike fire. And the person living in that area, a householder, who has a big family, came out and met him and said, what are you doing? He said, I have developed vairagya, sannyasa. The whole world means nothing to me. So, right before you, I will enter into this fire and be nirvana, liberation. The person says. But how is it you are not thinking? What a nasty smell will arise out of your body. And here all my family with so many children, etc. You want to make them miserable? Is this your spirituality? Now the man said, what can I do? So that gives you an idea of the problem about what to renounce. What is renunciation? The conflict between renunciation of all karmas and karmas, performing karmas. You have no choice. You have to perform your karmas. But karmas come in according to three gunas. Abandon tamasic karmas. Control your rajasic karmas. Promote more sattvic karmas. But as you promote your sattvic karmas, be intent upon developing spirit of surrender to God. Consider the karmas as worship of God. If you don't, though you perform sattvic karmas, you remain bully-headed. And the scriptures in India, they bring that story. Pratapa Bhanu was very virtuous person. Did lots of charity and people applauded him. But that story I'm giving in the Ramayanas. When he is brought to a situation of asking a boon, instead of asking, may I attain liberation, may I have devotion to God, he asked for, may I live for many centuries, many yugas, and may I be complete controller of everything. Though he performed sattvic deeds, and he reached that state of mind, and that type of soul became Ravana, in Ramayana story. In other words, simple performance of virtue is not real virtue unless it involves your humility, allows you to be integrated. Otherwise, that becomes a karma, will give you pleasant condition in future. But simply having pleasant condition in future doesn't guarantee your spiritual evolution. You have had many pleasant times, but you never cared for who gives the what is the source of pleasure. Now, if anyone renounces his duties because of delusion, his tyaga term is relinquishment, renouncing, but not with the sense of the term sannyasa. So you have to understand the difference with sannyasa, tyaga. In practical aspect of spirituality, they are synonyms. In ritualistic aspect, you may not be highly advanced, and yet you may be initiated into sannyasa. And that sannyasa becomes a great help for you to advance. But being initiated into sannyasa, you don't become a sannyasi. From practical point of view, people recognize you as a sannyasi. You are encouraged to feel I am a sannyasi. But you must not be fooled. All this is being given a psychological environment for you to get benefited. But simply by adopting the external measure, no one becomes a real sannyasi. At the same time, people who have not adopted the sannyasa, not embraced sannyasa, they can attain enlightenment without adopting the sacrament of sannyasa. So the actual sannyasa, the real sannyasa, is that movement that leads you to absolute renunciation. And that's what the focus is of 18th chapter. That's the goal. Whatever ritual we adopt, that's another aspect. You stay grihasthi or become a sannyasi. But simply by adopting a ritualistic aspect, that doesn't secure your goal. Your goal is secured by your self-effort and movement. If you are a sannyasi, still you have to go through integral yoga in your life. Now, in order to understand also karma, pravaha patit karma, you enter into an embodiment. You born, say for example, you are born in the family of farmers. So from your very babyhood, you watch the farm, you recognize the birds, you enjoy the rain, smell the flowers, and so forth. And there your duty becomes aligned to all that is needed in farming. I'm just giving one sample. Similarly, you can be born in the family of musicians. You start looking at veenas and strings and ragas. Can be born in the family of mathematicians, scientists, a botanist, a geologist, and so forth. So therefore, the moment that hereditary opportunity that has come to you is pravaha patit karma. And it will be easy for you to advance in that direction. And then as you advance, you create your project. Bring enrichment to your karmic process. Until you become highly advanced, then your karmic movement becomes Ishvara Prerit karma. You are inspired by God within you to continue your performance. Dukkhamityeva yat karma kaya klesha bhayat tyajet sakritva rajasam tyagam naiva tyagaphalam labhet. He who relinquishes his duties because of fear of physical labor or discomfort that is involved in performing them. His relinquishment is of a rajasic nature. It is dominated with impurity and desires. He does not attain the fruit of his relinquishment. In other words, if you are drawn to physical comfort, that becomes a great impediment in your spiritual evolution. Physical health is one thing. Physical comfort doesn't make you healthy. In other words, early in the morning, your body says, don't get up. Cover yourself up. And you go on. I'm kind of dramatizing it. Go on developing the idea. How wonderful. I should have servants. So early in the morning when I get up, they will pick me up. One servant should make me tea, another should do this. Another should tell me a story so that I get entertained. Another one should sing to me. This is highlighted in Mahabharata called Vyasanas. So, that type of karma is rajasic, tamasic. And you are not doing because of your love for luxuries. If you do not perform your duties, it is damaging to your health, damaging to your karmas, damaging to your evolution. And for that reason, if you are abandoning karma, that abandonment is rajasic. Karyamityeva yat karma niyatam kriyate arjuna sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva satyagah satviko mataha. He who performs his duties, renouncing attachment and desire for fruits, with the understanding that they ought to be performed, his relinquishment or his abandonment of fruit is considered sattvic. Simple message behind it. Actions must be sattvic. And they should be performed to please God, to be subservient to divine will. They should not be performed being inspired by your ego. If you are performing inspired by your ego, you all will get his perspiration. But inspired by God, you will get inspiration. Even your perspiration becomes joyous when there is a little breeze of inspiration. And it's very healthy to perspire. And with this I'm concluding. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.